All right, so the date is February the 5th, Monday, 2018. The time is 16 minutes after 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you are witnessing a flash crash in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. The market flashed down. It was down 1,000, like 700 points. It is now uh, basically whipsawing around. It's now down over 800, but it was down. I've never seen anything like this before in my life. The most I've ever seen the market move in one day was 1,200 points, but that was 1,200 points to the upside. This here is a new record as far as points, just in pure points, not in percentages, just pure points. The Dow has never been down over 1,000 points in an intraday situation like this ever, 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 ever. Look at this 1 hour bar right here, and let me mute that just for a second. I don't know if you can hear the Bloomberg in the background or not. All right. So on this 1 hour bar here, we had a high of 24,738. The market dropped down to 23,691. All right. It did it like instantly, just out of nowhere. Then the market bounces back just as quickly as they've done that. So the question is, was that some sort of a capitulation? And is the market ready now to head back up? If you recall, I did tell you, a few videos ago that the market could sustain coming down to the secondary trend line support in a corrective move, and still we have crazy rampage taking us into the middle of the summer. So that's what's happening now. Now the week is still young, it's just beginning. Yes, the market gave up the momentum last week, and now the market is, basically like falling off the cliff, so to speak. But overall, the trend is still extremely bullish. The market has had so much air pumped into it that it could sustain several thousand point drop and still be in a bullish situation, which means we can get down to 22,608 and still be considered in a bull market on the weekly chart. That's a lot of points. That's thousands of points below us, just so you can see that. So this is significant in that this has never happened before like this point wise, but it's insignificant in the broader picture. Nothing to see here move along only because of how much just energy and liquidity has been pumped into this market energy wise. What you are seeing is nothing more than profit taking. Profit taking because those who have been long have experienced an enormous run up, a historical run up in equity prices that we have not seen since the 90s. So they're like, okay, it's time to take some money off the table. They probably been listening to the Vulcan report, and they probably been watching, and they said, let me just go ahead and take some money off the table. So now it's a cascading effect where everybody's taking money off the table now at the same time, and that's happening for various reasons. Some people are taking money off the table because they've gotten wise, and you take profits along the way. Other people are taking profit because they are scared. They're scared of uncertainty with the president's new tax plan. They're afraid of uncertainty as far as yields. We'll take a look at that in a minute. But over here on the left-hand side, if you can see it, bonds are up 1 full point in 18 30 seconds, getting close to almost 2 point rally in your bonds. All right. As you can see, we're at the 146 level, which is a far cry from the 150s where we were. So you can see yields, have skyrocketed, but as of today, they're starting to pull back. All right. So still in a bearish tone, bearish market in the bonds. We'll pull up a chart on that later, but as of right now, this is your Dow Jones futures contract, and you can see what has happened with it. Looking over here at your Bitcoin right now being decimated, it's down right now, down 1,650 bucks, okay? After being down close to 2 grand not long ago, it got down to 6,600 even. 6,600. All right. People have been making note of the 666, which the Dow basically hit last week on Friday, closing down that amount. Yes, symbols and mathematical equations and numbers do often play out in the stock market. It should be noted, though, that if you have it hit on the downside like you did, usually that's a mark that the market has a bottom and is going to turn. And I would point you to the 2009 lows of the market. I believe that was hit end of March, first couple days in April, somewhere around there. When we hit those lows, and you saw that S&P 500 666 was the low, and then the market turned immediately. In this case, though, the Dow 666 was a lie because, as you can see today, the market was down over 1,000 points intraday. All right. Now here we go. We're down back 900 right now. So just incredible carnage. You got 1,000-point range on this hourly bar here. On the 4-hour bar, it's a bigger picture. You see 25,198 is the high, and you have 25,198 is the open. So that's a negative 2-bar Charlie, and it hit a low of 23,890. I'm sorry, 23,691. So once again, dropping in a huge way, erasing the gains that it's made for this year, but it has not erased the gains it made last year. Putting everything into perspective, here you are right now. You basically just erased the gains that you had from the last week of November. So any profits since the last week of November of 2017 have been erased, but all the profits leading up to 2017 are still intact. All right, so that can make sense to you. All right, what else? What else we need to look at? There's so many things to look at, but to be quite honest with you, I'm not really moved by anything that I'm seeing. It's all normal. This is trading. Markets get volatile. They move around. They wiggle and move and jiggle. That's what they do. There are buyers and sellers in the market. If you were a subscriber to the weekly post wave price triggers, you would not be shook either, because you would have already taken profit up in here, and you would either be shorting or be on the sidelines waiting for your next buy entry. Okay, so that's the Dow. Let's take a look at the NASDAQ. Now, the NASDAQ is down pretty significantly too, but not everything on the tech side is as bad. Apple got a nice shot in the arm because of the announcement of creating jobs, things of that nature. So here you see the NASDAQ got down to 64.99. All right, that's the high. I mean, that's the low there. And the high of the day is 6,813 and a half. All right, so a few hundred points there. And right now, the E-mini S&P 500 down about 70 points right now. It's off those lows. It was down over 100. Like I said, this was a straight up flash crash. Now, let's pull up. I'm going to pull up something else here. Usually don't go down to these levels, but we're going to go to this level right now. This is a 5-minute chart. So here's how this is how it went. Market was chilling right here at 6,678, right? Okay, market was chilling, all right? So 66.78 was the close, right? 66.78. Then all of a sudden, boom, for the next several minutes, the market just went straight down. All right, these are the 5-minute charts here. See, this went straight down. Then turns on a dime. All right, turns on a dime. You see that? Came down here, turned immediately, just turned on a dime. Didn't work its way up, it just turned. You went straight down like this, and then the next bar, green. All right, that's what happened. Turned on a dime. V-shaped recovery, just like that. I can't really call it recovery just yet because we haven't changed trend lines here on the 5-minute chart. All you're doing is coming up here toward the resistance line and getting ready to possibly fall back down and drop below this. All right. I just wanted to show you what the smaller minute intraday charts look like. And if you pull up a 1-minute chart, it's even more interesting. All right. Here you went right here. Market was chilling. Then all of a sudden, just collapse. Boom, 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 boom. Pretty neat, isn't it? And then here's your V-shaped recovery. If someone wants to speak, you may speak. Go for it.
Hey Dex, how's it
Yo.
going, man? It's been a while.
Yes, it has. Go for it, man. What's on your mind?
So when you see a move like that, obviously markets move and things like that, but with how locked in everything has been, I mean, do you think, knowing that you pay attention to everything that's out there, from, you know, we watch the algos, but we study the news, we study just everything, we look at
Hmm.
everything, agendas behind the scenes, things like that. Like, what's your gut telling you? I mean, do you think this is someone deciding that they want to manipulate the algo, and just
You're going in
with
and out.
human intervention, try to push a market, and or is this like, I guess what I'm getting at, is this an agenda that someone's trying to play out, or do you think this is just could just be innocent profit taking kind of to an extreme, like someone's like, just take the damn profits and let's fuck it up, or do you think there's something more at play here?
All right. If I put my tinfoil hat on for a minute, I would say that I believe this is being done to punish Trump and to make him look bad
That's what my
because
gut's telling me.
the opposition is jealous because they weren't able to do what he's doing now. So that's on the tinfoil hat side. On the other side, right now, we've had more sellers than buyers. Now we're switching on and we're having more buyers than sellers because people are taking profit on these shorts. In addition to that, I do believe that this downside will be limited and that the markets are going to rip roar again. Remember, people are jealous, people are angry because Trump's doing what they couldn't do with their candidate. That's A. B is now they know that the markets are real. The bull market is real. So they're angry. They're upset because they've missed it. So now they want to get in and play. So what are they going to do? Push the price down enough so that they can get that pullback so they can get in. In addition to that, Hack has gone nowhere. We're still way above that $30 mark and it's marching its way toward 35. Your
Yeah,
GDXJ is still hanging out here in the $32 handle, just like Hack. In addition to that, if you take a look at how the markets have moved overall, here's gold futures right here. It's just chilling, just like silver. It's just chilling. It's not really moving up or down, it's just flat. Even your oil, now your oil, a little bit more significant, but not really, because historically oil is the most volatile and rip your face off market on the planet, but even it's just humdrum. You would expect if this is a real like broad flash crash, everything would be flash crashing right now. But it's not. It's just your equity market. It's just limited to the equity market. Nothing else is bugging. Even your forex right now, euro's only down 43 pips. The dollar's up 29 pips. The British pound being down 134 pips doesn't count because the pound sterling has its own issues going on right now because of the whole Brexit thing. So that really doesn't count. And then here's your bonds. Your bonds have reversed and are now rallying off of their lows. See what I'm saying? So this is not a broad sell-off. Also, you can't really call it a broad sell-off when you see, here's your Apple right now, and I'll change this back to my weekly chart. All right, Apple is green on the screen so far for the week. Here you are. It's coming. It's making a comeback because it announced, hey, we're going to create all these jobs. So although this is significant, you can't turn your head to it, the Dow being down 800 points, but it's still not a broad thing. In flash crashes of the past, everything on the screen was red. Everything on the screen basically went to zero in a split second. You're not having that here. You're not having panic. I don't see panic selling of any sort. If we were seeing panic selling, the Dow would be down, limit. It would be down limit. All the index will be limit down right now. That's not what we're seeing at all. Not saying it still can't happen, but I just don't see that happening right now. So my gut tells me this is political, made to make the president look weak. They're mad because he's able to take full, you know, what's the word I'm looking for here? Credit for the equity market being the way it's been since he's been in office, taking credit for that. They hate that. And then in addition to that, there's just so much uncertainty going on right now. There's a lot of rumors, things of that nature, and I'm
Oh, I'm
just not.
aware of them.
This whole
I hear
memo
you on all those.
foolishness.
Yeah.
The memo foolishness is foolishness too. I told everybody not to get so excited about the memo. It was like, no, you don't understand this memo. I'm like, it doesn't mean anything. We've had memos before. We've had greater things than
Yeah.
memos. We've had video footage. We've had audio footage. We've caught people red-handed with their hand in a cookie jar. Remember the Watergate scandal? They was caught red-handed in the room. You know what I'm saying? With the ski
Yeah.
mask and black gloves on. And still,
Yeah.
things didn't go as far left as they should have gone. If you know what I mean. Yeah, the president resigned before he got impeached. Yeah, there were some people who went to prison, things like that. But if you look at the deep state, you never see them being indicted. You never see them coming to light. They're always in the background doing what they do, and they keep on going, regardless of what happens in the outcome. So you're not going to see anything real like that happen. You're not going to see none of the big players going to jail or prison, nothing. If they need to, they'll give you a scapegoat. Some low level person, and that's what happens. Even with Martha Stewart, notice how the stockbroker is the one that went to jail and suffered the real carnage. All she did was go to a country club for a little bit, and that was it. And now she's back on top, richer than she was before she went to jail. That's another thing too. The ones who do end up going to these country club type of federal prisons, they come out richer than they were before they went in. So you have to think, what's really going on, behind the scenes. So I believe very little of what I see and read in the media. I just look at the price. Price action tells me everything I need to know. Price action tells me people want to take profit, and when they're done taking profit, they're going to buy back in again. Now, could we be wrong? Of course. This could turn into a straight up bear market. And if it does, well, where do you go from here? I can tell you right now. This number right here gets shaved in half. Half of 26,000. There you go. That will take the Dow back down to Dow 12,000. All things being equal and considered. So what? Some people want that
Well,
to happen.
what would happen then? What would be what would
Nothing.
happen to just the credit markets? What would
Nothing.
happen to nothing?
Nothing. Remember, the stock market has been removed from the economy for a long time now.
Yeah, I've seen you speak on that many a time.
Yeah, I mean, come on, come on. I mean, nothing. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing will happen. It's just prices will go lower. See, everything is smoke and mirrors. They want people to think a certain way. So because the powers that be control the media, they use Vulcan mind melding tactics on the woolies. What kind of tactics are they using? What are these Vulcan mind melding tactics? Well, the tactics are all of the media outlets receive a script and these certain talking points, and they repeat and parrot that's the same talking points word for word, and it
Yeah.
has a melodic.
Circular reporting. Yeah.
Yes, it has a melodic hypnotizing effect to it because you keep
Hmm.
hearing them say the same phrases, the same words, reporting on the same thing and jump and coming to the same conclusions, sometimes verbatim sentence wise. And then that's what people start to believe. They say, oh, okay, that's what that was. And there's really no fact checking. We have no disclosure in this country whatsoever. All right. There is no disclosure. There is no, you know, glass window. All right. Nothing is revealed to the American people except for what little they want you to know. You're not allowed to ask questions. You're not even allowed to see anything. You're not allowed to see anything. If you are, and if they do give you something to read, it's been heavily redacted. And they put a stamp of national security and top secret or classified on it so that they say, see, this gives us the reason why we can't share this with you. They can classify anything they want. It could be something just as innocent as the president had a ham sandwich today. They'll say, nope, top secret, it's classified, national security, can't share this with you. And all they did was redact the word the sentence the president had a ham sandwich, which means absolutely nothing. They just do that so that they don't have to disclose anything to you. That's why the whole um, act that they did, where you can request things, Freedom Act, whatever, and then they can
Freedom of
run around.
information. Yeah. FOIA
Yeah,
requests.
yeah.
Yeah.
FOIA is a joke because they've already learned how
No,
to get around it.
they blatantly, yeah. I know people within the department. They all say they all just overly classify things. It's just a way to protect themselves.
Correct. And then if it's a situation where you know, law enforcement or want to get their hands on something, they say to them, "Oh, you know what? Can't find it. It doesn't exist." Like Hillary's email.
Which we know is not true.
Oh, they just delete it. No, no, they know how to
It's
delete stuff. They
there's
know how to
always
lose and
always
delete
somewhere
stuff.
though. There's always
Yeah,
a backup somewhere.
yep. They say, "Oh, don't have it. Doesn't exist."
Utah actually is where the servers are,
And then
most
you have to
likely.
prove that it does exist. And how can you
Yeah,
do
which
that? You can't.
no one's gonna let that happen.
Yeah. So that's what they do. They say it doesn't exist. So they can't be audited. You can't fact check the bureaucracy because it's gotten too big. It's just too big, too many moving parts. They can create an office and break down the same office in the same day like they were never there. When you're dealing with an entity like that, there's nothing you can do. There's not a thing you can do. What are you going to do? Vote the people out of office? People threaten that all the time, and the same people still get reelected. So that's telling you something there. There has to be some kind of apparatus in place to prevent them ever losing power. See, they've already figured out how to get around everything. They can rig the voting outcomes any way they want, and there's nothing anyone can do to prove anything. You can't prove that they did it. How you gonna prove that? Even the thing with the whole president colluding with Russia. They say Russia interfered in the elections. Okay, for argument's sake, tell us how they interfered with the election. You haven't heard one shred of evidence telling you how they interfered with the election. You want to know why? Because they know that A,
They
it's
did
a,
it.
exactly. They know that they didn't, and
And they
B,
couldn't prove it even if they did.
yeah, exactly. Unless they tried to set them up, and they couldn't do that
It's
either.
all circumstantial at best.
Exactly. They can't do it. It doesn't exist. Trust me, if there was any realness to that, we would have
We would
already
get
seen
war.
all types of. They would have redacted anything. They would have plastered that all over the mainstream media. showing you all types of stuff. They would show you emails and all types of stuff. IP addresses, you name it. No.
And they can, I mean, it's so easy to manipulate all of that. It's masking and just spoofing IP. Like, there's no way that, I mean, the people who know, I mean, you're technical. I know that you know a lot about all this stuff, but from a technology perspective, just the ability to actually detect like all these like Russian bots and everything like that, they have no idea. They have no idea. Just go take a look at that Vault 7 stuff, because that stuff is real. It is. They do have the ability to leave. There's just some amazing coders and amazing just guys that just hack away at it and can basically make anything look like anything. When it comes to the internet, it is and forever will be the wild, wild west. So there's absolutely
Correct.
no proving anything.
I have to admit too, a buddy of mine once told me, because I was thinking about bringing some software to market, and he let me know under no circumstances. He said, if it's software, it can be hacked.
Yep.
I said, stop playing. He said, if it's software, it can be hacked. I don't care what kind of security you put on it. I don't care how you, um, what's the word, encrypt it, what kind of encryption you use. I don't care. It can be hacked.
Yeah.
And
And if there's anyone who ever tells you, I mean, I'm here in Silicon Valley. My CEO of my company, he has been consulting here and built. I mean, he consulted for Cisco Systems early on. He introduced them to Hilton. He helped design and really architect the first high-speed hotel.
mhm,
So, just in speaking with him, literally, he said, if anyone ever tells you just at all that something cannot be hacked into, that it's impossible, disregard everything that they ever say ever again, because they don't know what they're talking about.
correct. That's why I don't have any software that I brought to market. I could have put stuff on a disk and had software. Nope, I won't do it because I know for a fact that it can be hacked. Sorry,
But
I go back to the guy. I don't remember his name. You probably remember his name. In the early '90s, remember the Russian dude? They finally caught up to him. He's the world's greatest hacker,
uh,
the greatest hacker of all time.
one of them, yeah. I mean, but I'll tell you this right now, for that one, I know of. I've been told stories of even better, but I do recall who you're talking about. I don't remember his name, but I do know who you're talking about.
Dude was
But
so nice. He was man, he was the nastiest dude I've ever seen on a computer. He did things that to this day people are still trying to figure out how he did it because the technology supposedly did not exist back then.
so there's this guy. I don't even know if I could talk about this, so I'll say there's this guy, there's this company, and this company is a large giant in the valley, and so he hacked he's just wired that way, like it was a game to him.
Hmm.
He's just one of those guys where he just hacked just to prove that he could do it, right?
Right.
So and he literally would, you know, like, so they lost a bid for like a job company he was working for to do like a high speed hotel, and they undercut it. Somebody undercut the bid, and it was totally not going to be secure in anything. So they literally sent him in. They went and he hacked every single room and printed out every like business person's like morning, like what if they had like a meeting they were going to, whatever it is, all their notes, printed out everyone's reports and everything that they needed for the day, and they slid them under the door, like right before they woke up,
Hmm.
and with a note like "Have a great day," and literally like overnight, like I mean, but this guy, like, he would literally, he finally pushed it, like from what my boss was telling me, like last he heard of the guy, he just did it a little, he went too far.
Right.
Like he got within like just to prove that he could, because he loved pissing people off. He got like somewhere where they said that you couldn't go,
Right.
and so no one's heard from him since. But those guys, they end up coming in, they make them work for the system now. Now it's like, okay, you can sit in jail or you can, work for us. It's
Yeah, they
these
did a lot
guys.
of that back in the 90s. Instead of arresting
Yeah.
people, they
Oh,
hired.
they're still doing it. They're still doing it. But yeah, it's crazy. There's some I just know from our team, like there's some wicked talented people out there that really their brains don't see they see and speak a different language than us and see the world from a different, the true AI brains that can map things out in 3D
Correct.
and and really just build things that for the most part, our collective conscious just we're not even on that level, you know.
Yeah, that's
So
that NSA type stuff where you have individuals who start companies and they're hack companies. That's what they
yeah.
do. The government hires them to, hack other sovereign countries.
Well, I mean, and you
And
have literally countries like India, the entire like India, like they literally have, everyone just goes, oh, go to India to, they can develop this really cheap for you. Well, they're
mhm,
just stealing stuff from people. Like they literally they hack and then they just take gigantic pieces of code from like Fortune 500 companies.
right,
And so they will go and then they will, create a new company like using someone's code for and literally, like, they end up finding out eventually and just getting their faces sued off, and by then the Indian guys have run away and they're gone. But, there's an entire, you would have, and there's like legitimate softwares out there that are literally have stolen like hundreds of thousands of lines of code
yeah,
from,
it's called Google and Microsoft. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's like Chantilly, Virginia. There's a lot of small outfits, and what they do is they find other like-minded people. I don't know if they still have these seminars in Las Vegas or not, but there used to be an annual hackers convention in Las Vegas, and you talking about amazing.
yeah,
Back in the
yeah,
day, if you thought you was a hacker and you showed up, a lot of people got their laptops stolen by going there pretending to be a hacker, thinking they can hang with these guys. And as you know, when you go in there, they have their own little Wi-Fi setup and everything, so you can go there. And they tell you once you log on to here, you're at your own risk. So
oh
if
yeah.
you're a real hacker, don't even come in here playing around. A lot of people will go there, think they doing something, and their laptops would get straight up stolen. You know what I mean when I say stolen, right?
Oh yeah. I
That
mean,
means I
they
log
can literally
on,
just mirror.
I take over your laptop. Your laptop is my
Well,
laptop now.
without even you even knowing
Yeah,
though,
you're
you
done.
don't
You're
even
hacked.
know.
Yeah, you're hacked.
Yeah.
And the way they would hire people, some of these companies too, like let's say you were a renowned hacker, right? And I'm one of the headhunters for this company X. Well, you don't interview, you don't like seek out company X and interview and say I would like to work there. You don't even know company X exists. Company X finds you. How do you know you have an interview? Because you're a hacker. We send you something, you find out,
Yeah.
you have an interview.
Well, these guys are all just basically consultants. They're all just getting paid
Yeah,
on like
you have
1099s
to
and stuff like that. I mean, they're all for hire. They're pirates. They're they're pirates. You know,
correct, and then
there's
and
no
then
allegiance.
you got the job because the assignment was you have to hack to figure out what it is that you're supposed to be doing and who is this and what this is, and then by the time you get to the end of the maze, you realize, okay, this was an interview, I got the job, and then boom, bam, you're basically an agent, if you will, like a CIA agent, and that's what you do. You
Yeah.
got your assignment, you down, you got your clearance, and you're on your way. Our government has been acting like this for a long time now. Using these
Well,
outfits like that.
I would even go as far to say it's not even our government anymore, though. You know, not even like tinfoil hat, but you understand how these companies are structured. I mean, all this happens. It's all private enterprise. That's how they.
That's what I
It,
mean. The
it
government is vast now. More so, the government could still exist if you physically blew up DC because it's so entrenched into private enterprise, like you said, who have been given the
yeah.
stamp of Fed. that it could still go on and carry on its day-to-day activities. That's how
Well, I
crazy it
mean,
is.
if you even think about it, it's just like when you go to apply for a security clearance, like don't you think that that should be something that the government is is doing? Like from like a if you're gonna set up if the government has stuff that they don't want you to see, and it's like top secret stuff, it should be for the government. Like the idea of outsourcing, like looking into people's backgrounds, you know, like
Hmm.
fundamentally speaking, just that sounds like a terrible idea because they're like, okay, well that's just a third party company, like so that now they know the secrets, and now they're, it doesn't make any sense. Like when if people were taught like how government actually is structured from a corporate, just from a business license perspective, like the conversation I think would be much, it would be different. I think it would change people's minds
Correct.
because
Uh,
I think people
One
see
note,
government as this thing that's like an inclusive thing.
real quick. I just realized something. Either they've turned off the circuit breakers or they've moved the circuit breaker limits
That's
because
what I was going to ask
right
you.
now,
Thank you for bringing that up.
the S&P right now is down 102 points. The Nasdaq futures is down 238 points. Dow futures down 1,052. They're acting as if this is normal. They have now normalized the flash crash. So now you see that the prior flash crashes were just exercises for when we eventually go live. Today, folks, we've just went live. The way the price action is moving, it's moving in a melodic way. Everything's moving in tandem, and you could tell it's organized. It's in a way. It's like everyone's children line up on a single file line on the wall, and we're going to march down the lunch. That's what this is. This is an organized thing. This is not craziness. This is not, oh, look at the volatility. No, this is organized. I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this. This is organized. So
Mm.
whatever this is, it's been controlled by
Allowed to happen.
something intelligence. Not just allowed to happen, but it's being made to happen. It's organized.
Do
This is
you think DEX we're going lower?
absolutely. Look at the price action. Look at this.
Yeah,
Look at this. You tell me. Look at this. This is what you're seeing. 1,071 points.
let's see the last 5 minutes how it is.
And it's staying here. That's my point. It's staying here. It's not moving. It's staying here. On May the 6th, 2010, it hit the 1,000 mark and immediately recovered. We're staying here. We're chilling, hanging out, cooling out, mellowing out, negative 1,000, like it's nothing. The NASDAQ. Never before have I seen the NASDAQ ever since the futures contract's inception been down over 200 points. Ever. Ever. I've never seen that. Never, not ever. No.
And just a little bit before when it happened, the gold get a very high bid. Do you think, and it seems right now you want to take another bid, and Bitcoin too dropped like to 6,600 back to seven something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
seven something.
it touched 65.
It's down 1,200 points right now.
Didn't it have a gap to fill though down that low?
Yes, and it filled it.
Well, did they? So how does it work when they build the models for the futures? Do they go back and look at like what data set are they pulling from? Like are they because it's a 24-hour market,
To be quite
you
honest
know?
with you, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I don't know how they're doing it now. Remember, when they first came out with these futures contracts, technically speaking, there was no internet.
Yeah.
So you got to keep
So
that
you
in
were able
mind.
to build a much more rigid, not rigid, it was actually a more accurate, right? Because it's just
Nah, nah. Globex back then, in my opinion, is worse than the crypto space right now.
I guess because you could hide a lot of things, huh?
No, when I say worse, the volatility was off the chain. I wish I had some video footage to show you though just what a normal day looked like back then. Dude, you had these kind of price swings on a daily basis. You would have a range like this on the Dow with no problem. This 200
Yeah,
point thing you see on the Nasdaq, this
was
was the
just.
average daily range of the Nasdaq back then was 200 points. That was the daily range, my man.
And was that? And what do you attribute that to from a not from a okay news perspective, but like from a just a fundamental? Is it like speaking specifically of the algos, like how they were built back then? Is that what you would attribute it to? Just the like, or is it just a technological?
No,
Just like
algo trading was limited back then. Algo trading was very limited. It was limited to basically the Wall Street outfits.
when did they
Uh,
turn those on? Like for like to like a mainstream institutional turn on,
that's a good
like effective
question.
date.
It wasn't a really effective date. It's just something that gradually happened over time. To be honest with you, the algo trading goes back to 1987, and like I said, it
Okay.
was mainly a Wall Street outfit thing. It wasn't a retail trader thing like it is now. This is something that has happened in the 2000s. This algo trading on the retail side is a new thing. It was born in the 2000s. It
Mhm.
did not, the later, when I say 2000s, I mean, 2000,
Post 9/11.
and not post 9/11. Um, pre slash on 2007.
Oh wow.
The 2008 crash that we had, financial crash, was egged on by algos on the residential side. I'm sorry, I keep saying residential. On the retail side.
Well, if you look at like just what happened to the markets in like the whole credit crunch and everything, oh 06, oh 07, like that's when like the true big earthquake fractures happened
Right.
in the economy. And in order to glue that back together, you needed to build of a super glue web of I mean, when you're building an algorithm, you're building a very structured, controlled environment inherently.
Not
So
necessarily.
that would actually correlate really
Mm-mm.
well. I mean,
Not,
it
I'll
makes
correct
sense.
you on that. No, there's no, they're not trying to structure no environment. When they build these algorithms, the algorithms really are, they're not all that. I wish people could see it. It's not all that. These algorithms that they're constructing are dangerous and they only care about themselves. It has nothing to do with creating a stable environment. Not at all.
Algos is just to read, right? Read data,
Yeah, let me explain what I
interpret.
mean by algos because that's a nebulous term.
Well, there are definitions because I build them for my company
Right.
as well.
Yeah,
What we do
you
in
know what I'm talking
healthcare.
about. So yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about. Basically, all right, for instance, let me give you a running view. The thing that caused the 2008 financial crisis was an algorithm. All right. The thing that caused the housing crash was an algorithm. All right. Some bright Ivy League person came up with an idea, an
Hmm.
algorithm, if you will, a magic number that would help the banks to make oodles of money off of these mortgage backed securities. And it was
Yeah.
sold that, hey, this thing can't lose. This is the algorithm. This, you want to do this. This is what you want.
It's an MBA looking at it, building a data set, saying that this should statistically work
Right.
and it is statistically viable. That's the problem with MBAs is they don't live in reality. Everything
Exactly.
for them is just hype. Yeah, I hate MBAs.
And they have no real world experience. All
No,
right. So
no, they're not operators.
peep this. That algo that they came up with for the mortgage backed securities, this is going back before a lot of you's time, but I'm gonna hit you with this. If you looked at the formula, because they printed it in the magazines, if you looked at the nuts and bolts of the formula, it was similar to um, long-term capital management's algorithm. Do y'all remember that? The thing that crashed the whole what are those things? Those banks back then. You know what I'm talking about? Savings and loans. The savings
Yeah,
and
savings
loan.
and loans.
Yeah, it was the same type of risk management. program in every way. And again, they were saying, well, statistically speaking, the standard deviation in such and such model is only 2 or 3%, and it's never gone beyond that. Blah 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 blah. Well, the thing that blew up long-term capital was the market started to move outside of the spectrum of their historical analysis, and that almost bankrupted the economy to the tune of $1 billion. And we're talking 1980s money. It's a lot of money for one firm to be underwater $1 billion. And it's funny
Okay,
because
so
history repeats itself.
I see what you're saying there. So let me just before I forget this. So when I'm thinking of algorithms, when I'm building them, I build them responsibly.
Hmm.
And I'm really going if this then that, because like you just said, you're basically it'd be no different than taking an entire computer script, opening it up and letting someone like look at the code and then just drop like, something on the key, anvil on the keyboard and then turning it back on. You're going to get an air switch. It's going to just destroy everything.
Right.
So that's what happened there. So they built a model and then they didn't take into account factors that existed and it created an error. So what you're saying is the algorithms would you say to this day, I would or do you think they're actually making a concerted effort to improve them, or is it just improve them in their favor? I guess when I say improve them, I always think about things in life from like their perspective, from the powers that be perspective. Like if I was going to try to rip everyone off, like what would I do?
In the dark. They're building them in the dark and they're building them blind. The people who are building them are not traders. All right, they've never traded anything. They don't have a pedigree that goes back to the 80s and 90s. So they don't know anything about real markets. All they do is study something in an ivory tower in a classroom at Yale or Harvard or Brown somewhere, and they come out thinking that they know something, and they're saying, here, we're going to use this, and my model
very
works.
exploitable.
And then their stuff blows up. Like right now, we just had the closing 4 o'clock bell, New York time, and look what the futures are doing. We just gapped down. Now the Dow is down 1,300 points. The cash Dow closed down 1,100 points. And just a moment ago, the Nasdaq was down 300 points, and you can see how things are getting worse. This is the biggest one. This is the biggest point fall for the S&P 500 in the history of the S&P 500, going back to 1997. It is the most it was down was 110 points, and that it only reached that level, being up or down 110 points, was back when Alan Greenspan would play around with interest rates in between meetings without an announcement in the middle of the trading day. And 110 points was the most the market ever would move, and then it would correct itself instantly. The Dow would drop.
From a percentage basis, what was that 110?
I couldn't tell you, man. That's another thing too. I don't fool with percentages. I don't play with percentages. I don't care about percentages. I care about raw numbers. Raw numbers is what matters to me. I'll tell you why. Some people will say, okay, like here's a good case. Here's a good case study for you. Let's take the QQQ right here. This is the equity equivalent of this right here, this Nasdaq 100 futures contract. Okay, it's down $6.49 on the day. That's where it's closing, 158.12. Okay, $6. If you take a look at its counterpart, which is the inverse ETF, the QUID, it closed up 91 cents.
Yeah, the correlation is completely off.
Some people say, well, no. If you look at the percentage, that 91 cents is a 6% rally in the quid. The market moves 6%.
And there's your inherent problem. That right there.
You know where I'm going, right? And then you say, well, the quid only was down maybe 1% or whatever. I don't care about percentage. I care about the dollar amount. I'd rather make $6.49 on my trade today than to make 91 cents on my trade today.
Yeah.
Per 100 shares. Do you want to make 91 cents per 100 shares, or do you want to make $6.49 per 100 shares? Yes, it takes more money, more cash up front to achieve this, because this is way more expensive than this. But still, I'd rather have this per 100 shares than this 91 cents per 100 shares. So for me, I'm pure price. I look at the points. I look at the points and the pips when it comes to forex. I'm looking at points and pips. I don't care about percentages. You keep your percentages. I want points and pips. That's how we used to brag back in my broker days when I was a licensed agent. This is what we would do. We could One person would say, "Look, I caught." We'll use this 4 hour chart real quick. No, we're gonna use the 1 hour chart. I'm gonna give you a real. This is something in real life that actually happened. Are you ready? One guy would say, "Look, man, I caught this whole bar, this 1 hour bar right here. I caught this. All right, I caught 47 cents in this. Right, I caught this one bar. I didn't care about the intraday fluctuations of the bars. That's not what I was going for. While he's bragging about this one bar right here he caught, I'm saying, yo, dude, I caught this weekly bar right here. I just pimped this weekly bar. Or see this daily bar right here? This is me. This is all me right here. I was long from this bar. This is all me. I caught the daily bar. I made this daily bar. If you made a daily bar back in the 90s, you were a god on Wall Street. Most people would take a bar or two out of an intraday chart and say, "Oh, he the man. He caught 3 of those bars. He's the man." No, I never went for that. That was never acceptable to me. I always wanted daily and weekly bars. That's what I go for. I say I caught the daily bar or I caught that weekly bar. And that was back when I was day trading. When I was day trading, I wanted the whole daily bar. Keep your little intraday thing. I want my daily bar. And now, years later, I don't even look at daily bars. I look at weekly bars. I want the weekly bar. That's what I go for. Most people would pass out hearing me say that because they're like, "That's impossible." No, it's not impossible. As you can see, based on today, it's extremely possible.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? You just have to
How
learn
are
how to
the
trade.
circuit breakers? How are the circuit breakers? What's their like? How are they fundamentally built,
Circuit
and what's
breakers
their
are a
purpose?
joke. Circuit breakers
Yeah.
are a joke. I'm gonna tell you why they're a joke. Going back to the 90s again. In the 90s, they were real. They used those things almost on a daily basis because that's how much money was coming into the markets. So back the average circuit breaker would look like this. For the Dow, it was about 300 points. It averaged between 250 to 300 points. The Nasdaq about 60 points. S&P 500 60 points. That was the circuit breakers back then, leading all the way up into and exceeding 9/11. On 9/11, circuit breaker for the Dow, same thing, 300 points. The S&P and the Nasdaq 60 points. On the day of 9/11, the first circuit breakers were hit. Dow was down 300 instantly. Nasdaq, S&P down 60 points instantly. Circuit breakers would last anywhere from 5 minutes to 15 minutes, depending on the severity. It averaged about 5 minutes, circuit breakers. Then you had a thing called curbs being put in. All right, curbs would be in when the market was running real hot. The Dow was up, 400 or 500 points. They say curbs are in to try to, cool off, the bonfire of buying, if you will. Same thing on the downside. If the market was really sliding, they say curbs are
Someone just
in,
shorting the crap
and
out of it.
yeah, they'll put in these circuit breakers to try to, cool things off a little bit, let people calm down, and whatever. Now you don't ever look. Let me change this for you real quick. Let me change this. I'm gonna show you something. You don't ever see the word curb or anything like that, or circuit breakers. You don't see none of that. All right, you see this right here? Y'all can see this. Hold on.
Oh, hold on.
Wait.
I
Okay.
think
Wait for next screen. Hold on. Okay. I want you to see this right here. I'm gonna make this big. This is the Bloomberg. All right. Now, right across the bottom of the screen where it says breaking, right here, where it says
mm,
breaking. Okay. You would have a thing running at the bottom of the screen on the Bloomberg and the CNBC telling you that curbs would be in or circuit breakers in or whatever, just so keeping you abreast. You don't see any of that being mentioned now. It's just telling you how many points the Dow is down and how it erased gains for the year. That's it. Throughout the entire trading session, it would tell you curbs are in, circuit breaker, whatever, or something shares halted in this stock or that stock. Dude, I can't even tell you the last time I've seen that. It's
like it's just not even like industry used terms anymore.
No, they don't care. the last thing that I saw, it was years ago, back when I was on with the late great Charlie McGrath, um, where they changed the circuit breakers. They said, okay, now circuit breakers are going to be this. The Dow has to basically fall a zillion points, and then we'll turn on the circuit breakers, things like that. So it was like, I think it was like, what's it, 5%, and then they used numeric terms, like if the Dow falls 3,000 points, then we'll halt trading. And if it falls 5,000 points, we'll halt trading for 2 or 3 days. If it falls 10,000 points, it will close the markets for a week. Seriously, it's on some crazy stuff like that. Something that doesn't even need to exist, because you're taking the extremes. They never
And
needed to be that before.
are they fixed, or are they making it up as they go?
Nah, that's it's fixed now. Basically,
Oh,
the
is it
Dow has
fixed?
to
Okay.
literally fall 20,000 points for them to say, okay, we're gonna halt trading, or put in some kind of mechanism. There's no circuit breakers on right now, dude. The whole time we've been talking and stuff, have you seen this slowing up at
No,
any
it's
point?
clear that based on what you're saying that there's nothing.
They're letting it ride. Let me tell you, they let the S&P fall 135 points, the Nasdaq fall 300 points, and the Dow fall 1,400 points. They're
This is an
doing this.
attack.
This is an attack. We are under attack. They're attacking Trump. This is being
Yeah.
done to make him
No, no,
look
he's pissing people
bad.
off. Yeah, no, that was my gut instinct from the very beginning when I saw this.
Right. If Bill Clinton was in office or Obama was in office,
Oh, they'd be
this
letting it
would not
run.
be allowed to happen. You better believe
Yeah.
they would have put curbs in. They would have activated the PPT. The Fed would have came in and said we're lowering rates. They would have done whatever they needed to do to prevent this from happening. When people see this right here, they get scared. They're thinking the world is coming to an end. This has never been normalized, people. 1,000 point move in the Dow, 300 point in the Nasdaq, 140 point move in the S&P has never been normalized, because it's never happened, people. We've had intraday flash crashes, but we've never had prices chilling like this at these levels. Are you kidding me? Since I've been doing this, the Fed usually comes in and props this market up. They're not doing that.
Yeah.
They're letting
Well,
it
there's never been
fall.
this much liquidity in the market.
Exactly, but even still, they're letting it fall. They're allowing this kind of panic selling to happen. This is definitely panic selling. If this was
In
2000, 2012, 2010, they would say, "Oh my goodness, Armageddon, panic selling,
Yeah.
bloodbath, Black Monday." Technically speaking, this is a Black Monday, unfortunately. But here it is. This is being allowed to happen. This is not normal, folks. You guys are witnessing history. These price levels have never happened in the history of the stock market.
Well,
Period.
I'm curious to see how they spin this. You know, because we know that they're attacking him as well. You know,
I think they're going to normalize it. They're making it look normal. Like, oh, this has happened before. This has never happened before. I don't care what talking heads say on TV. They're gonna start hitting you with the percentages. Watch to try to make it not look that bad. They'll say, "Oh, it was only a 2% decline. We've had bigger declines. Back in 1929, it was a 50% decline." Who cares about your percentages? I care about these numbers, dude. These numbers mean more than the percentages. They mean a lot. Let's look at a chart. I'm gonna show you how much a lot means. People,
that's what I was going to suggest. Is how far could we go and still technically be?
I'm gonna show you right now. All right, on this daily chart, the price is far leading the indicators, but you do have a cross right here. This technically is the beginning of a bear run based on this daily bar right now. We've crossed, momentum is crossed. This is the beginning of a bearish move now. That's A. That's on the daily chart. But look at you. This is happening against the backdrop of mad rampage coming up. So you know it's not going to stay down. Look at this weekly chart right here. Nothing is crossed on the weekly chart. All you're doing is extending the price levels down to the support lines. Here you go. It's the first support right here, second support right here. Again, the Dow would have to get down below 22,000 to say, okay, technically speaking, we've now closed below the trend line. So now we're in the beginning of a bear market. But this is how I know this is being orchestrated. If these price levels come down here like this and touch this, and your trend lines don't even cross, that's how you know this is being orchestrated, because what you have in that case is a rubber band effect. The price level comes down and then it just snaps right back real fast. And we'll be above 26,000 before you know it, probably within a week. So this is going to be funny to see how this actually plays out. But right now, I'm still bullish. There's no technical damage on this weekly chart other than a pullback. And you can say, how can you say that? Well, let's go back and look. Let's do a history lesson of this bull market rally. Here we go. We had a pullback right here. And look at this real big one right here. This is the week of January the 4th, 2016. Market fell big. It fell from 17,399 to 16,209. And then it fell even further and got down to 15,365. So you fell thousands of points, and then you recovered and you took out the high, like I said. You took it out big time. There you go. So can we experience this again? Absolutely, we can. But this thing has so much pressure in it, folks. Go back to the other video I did explaining to you in the Dow how much money has been put in here and what it will take to still be in a mega bull market. When you look at the bigger on the monthly chart terms, do you guys remember what that number was? What I told you? I said 12,000. The market can fall to Dow 10 and 12,000 and still be considered in a bull market. That's how much we've put into here. We have now 16,000 points of Fed printing in the market. And really, I think it's a little bit more than that now, because a lot of it's not being listed or accounted for. Excuse me. But the
It's
Fed
still
has
on their
pumped
balance. It's still on the Fed's balance
trillions.
sheet, right?
They've pumped trillions of dollars into
Well,
them.
didn't they say? Did they? I heard. Was it you and V talking about it, where they're talking about the Fed had said that they were going to start unloading their balance sheet,
Last video I
and
didn't I say this is what the Fed unloading their balance sheet looks like? Friday's end of day report. I said this is what the
but I thought
Fed's
I thought
on balance sheet look like.
wasn't it V's opinion that the only place that they could put that is in the equities market, and wouldn't that
Uh,
keep the Dow going up?
I don't recall what his opinion was on that, to be
I mean,
honest.
I don't think he was on. I don't think you were on with him. I don't think it was the trading Terradome. I think it was another day. He was saying that maybe next time you talk to him, ask him, because he was, because he was talking about how like Facebook, or like the central banks are investing in like Facebook, and they're putting,
Hmm.
they're unwinding their balance sheet, and they can't put it anywhere else other than the equities market. They can't hide.
Okay, well, let's look at FANG. Let's look at Facebook first. Decimated, down $9 today. Wow, that's almost 1,000 pips. Or points, if you will. That's a lot. That's a lot of points, dude.
That's a
902
slap to the
points,
face.
or $9.02. Dude, that's a lot. All right, let's look at your Apple. I showed you Apple earlier. See how it fared on the close. Apple closed down $4, so not as bad as Facebook, but still down, and it's in a downtrend channel, worse than the Dow. This weekly chart is worse than the one you just saw for the Dow. Apple not looking so good. It's touching that trend line. A close below this trend line this week for Apple. If it closes below 154.88, it's in trouble. Falling off a cliff, and we could see a $20 to $30 drop from here below, and that will get it below the Kumo cloud. All right, let's look at Amazon. AMZN. That's the wrong word. AMZN. Oh, fat finger. I just sold $1 trillion worth of equities. All right, so not so bad here. Oh no, I take that back. Almost $40 today, down $40. But when you look at, it's a $1,400 stock, so okay. not so bad per se. It's still above momentum, so it's still doing all right in the grand scheme of things. But still, $40 is $40. All right, let's see, Fang and Netflix. Let's look at Netflix, see what happened to that. Down $13 today. Fed ain't putting no money in none of these stocks. They taking money out of these stocks. I think they lied. They lied. Google down $56. Ouch. Coming down to the trend line. Nah, somebody lying. The Fed is selling. The Fed is not buying. The Fed is selling. A lot of this today is.
Well, this was the conversation I was referencing. This was like months ago. This was probably like 5 months ago.
Okay.
But he was this was like his forecast for how Dow is going to get to like 50,000.
Right. All right, hold on. Wendy, you said how long do you think they will let it drop before they buy it back up? That's a good question. That's a good question. I don't know. They have some time. It's not like they have to do some intervention right away. They don't have to intervene until it becomes obvious that the bull market has been broken and has turned bearish to a bear market. Before that happens, they would need to do something. But right now, I think they'll allow it to fall down to the trend line support or near it before they have to stop it. I think they want to scare people into voting or agreeing to something that they're working on behind the scenes.
I was going to say, can we put our tinfoil hats on for a minute? Because I've got a theory.
Go for it.
All right. So if anybody watches and gets out into the fringe and goes down rabbit holes on YouTube, you're probably aware that there's a lot of talk of, a lot of corruption that Trump is going after. Whether he is or not, I kind of lean towards you, Dex. I don't think anybody will ever see the day, but I think he's definitely he's poked a bear, and I think just with how much the establishment was freaking out over this memo coming out, and then it came out, and you're kind of like, okay, why were they freaking out so much for this? It tells me that this is going to lead to something else, and then this is going to lead to something else, and then people are going to start getting exposed.
Right.
So I think that really the market is in Trump's hands still.
Yeah, because they said in the executive order they wanted.
Yeah, if he wants to, I mean, in my opinion, there's probably somebody who just slid, a note under his door saying, balls in your court. If you want to take the pedal off the gas and ease up and turn the other way, we'll start seeing some green bars. If we, if you want to keep going after this and keep going after us, well, we're going to keep going down. And then it's just, how far down, will he let it go? I think this is an attack right now.
Right.
Because the executive order was clear. They will seize asset of those involved in human right crime, and it started with the Arabia Saudite king and queen.
Oh.
Sorry for the nose.
Bin Talal, and Bin Talal never even sweat it. The guy's got like an $18 billion net worth. They said that he was going to be.
If you seize, you liquidate. You don't need it, right? You liquidate.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you would liquidate so you can move money around, so that if you do end up getting hemmed up, you can say, "I'm bankrupt. I don't have no money."
Yeah.
I see.
But that's a wide sweeping. You know what? I mean, they could be hiding their money. Yeah, that could be it. That's actually
Well, I look at it like this. We know that the sell-off was going to happen, but this right here, this is not broad selling. This is big selling. There's a difference between broad selling and big selling. Broad selling is when you just see profit taking in the biggest moving sectors, things like that. But for this to come to the extent that it came to, the sell-off levels that were hit, this is large institution type money moving out of the market. And the only big player we know like that can move these indexes like that is the Fed. Fed is unwinding their balance sheet. So this is interesting. All
But
right, so
one
the
of
next.
the prince that was arrested, he was like owning 20% of Twitter and something like that. So if he's involved in child trafficking and they put his bank account like liquidate on the market, those sell-off can happen maybe. Just
Well, if we okay, so like Bin Salal, right? He's like he has a large position in Citigroup. He's got like a third of Twitter. He's got Disney. I mean, he has a tremendous amount he has a huge position in our markets, enough to do some damage. If he was under house arrest, which would have put a freeze, I would think, like I think it was December 21st, he signed that executive order, which was when he had already been under house arrest. So at that point, they probably, and still, he wasn't listed on that executive order, but I'm sure they could have used it against that. My thought is that I don't think they would have let his money get out of the market, because even though he's still free, it's the U.S. Treasury. That's the thing, is it's a part of the Department of Treasury. It's separate. It's not the Fed. It actually is the government. You know, the Treasury, that is the government. The Fed, that's a private corporation. That's a bank. So I don't think they would have let his position get out. I mean, he bought his freedom, you know, but I don't disagree that I think this is probably has something to do with it, but I don't think that they would have let him. There would have been terms to that deal, you know. I mean, when someone comes at you, I mean, even Saudi Arabia, and they put a $6 billion, it's not a bail. It's like a get out of jail free card. I mean, it's a third of his net worth.
Someone just posted that the VIX is up 100%. Yeah, see, yeah, and these inverse ETFs, TVIX, UVXY, Quid. I mean, it's definitely not a bad idea to start looking at the inverse ETFs, and then there are several listed on the sheet. This is not a bad idea. I'm sure the system probably will be showing some buy-ins and on this evening's update. I'm almost certain of it. And for the longest time, look, the ETFs have been out of favor. But as of now, as of today, look what you just had happen. This is a daily chart, by the way. You just turned bullish all of a sudden. If you pull up the weekly, you probably can't really see it on the weekly. The weekly charts are really messed up because of the reverse splits and stuff. But going all the way back, see, it gave us a high of $8,075 before all the splits. So TVIX was selling it at $8,000. It was an $8,000 stock if you account for all the reverse splits, and it went down to $4.66. Now it's at $12.60. So yeah, I think it's time to look at the inverse ETFs for sure. If this stuff is going to be long lasting, we don't know how long it's going to last. We just know that the market is giving off some type of signals right now. I'm going back to the NASDAQ chart, and you got to trade what you see. Still bullish. It's pulling back. Only thing you can really do is be patient and wait for the market to turn before you start, buying the QQQ again. But this is definitely a time to either short the QQQ or get long the quid. And here are the cash markets right here. The Dow cash closed down 1,100 points. The Nasdaq 100 cash closed down 264. S&P 500 cash index closed down 113, and the Russell closed down 56 points today. And again, gold is only up $3.80. Silver is silver is down 19 cents. So you don't really see the gold and silver really moving that much, even though the bonds at one point was down bananas. Now it's up over 2 points. Technically speaking, this right here is a circuit breaker back in the days for the bonds. 2 points and that was it. So this is up 2.24 points now. I think they have since changed that. They don't have any circuit breakers now on the bonds. So bonds are up over 2 points right now, folks. So this is definitely some serious money being moved around. Like I said, I think the Fed is unwinding their balance sheet, and individuals are coming in here and buying up these bonds. This is a flight to quality. This is how a normal market is supposed to work. When equities are down like this, the bonds are supposed to be up, and gold and silver is supposed to be up too, because these are safe havens. All right, this should be up more. I'm surprised the metals are not up more, but the bonds are up real significant. We hit a low of 144.03. We're at 147 now. That's huge. That's a 3 point run off the lows, folks. That's massive movement in these bonds. So Fed is unwinding their balance sheet, but you don't see that being talked about on the news at all. All you hear them talking about now is GOP leaders work to avert another government shutdown by the end of the week. So there's a lot going on, man. There's a lot of things going on. There are rumors. There's all types of stuff, and I just take it with a grain of salt and stick to the pulse waves. We have not looked at a Bitcoin chart. Let's look at Bitcoin.
I was just going to suggest.
All right, this is the Bitcoin futures. It only goes back this far because it's a new contract. So this is the weekly. Let's pull up the daily on the big screen here. All right, here's your daily chart. So as you can see, the low is 6,600, and you see it closed near the lows of the session. This indicates another leg down is coming tonight in the Bitcoin. Yep, not a bounce.
Hey, on your other charting platforms that you use, where was that gap?
I'm sorry, you went out. I can't hear you.
On your other charting, I don't know what software that was that you were using, where you showed the other chart of Bitcoin. Where was that gap?
Oh man. Let me think. Yeah, that was the Bitcoin. That was the Bitcoin. I call it the Bitcoin Cash. That was the actual Bitcoin chart, not the Bitcoin futures chart. I do not recall. I cannot recall. So sorry. I don't know.
I feel it was like around like 6.
I don't know. I know that it's been filled. I know that it's been filled. So the
It has.
fact that we're still going lower, this is being held by the futures. This is where people are shorting the Bitcoin. Now, one thing technically don't have nothing to do with the other, but for some kind of way, they're connected. The futures and the Bitcoin are actually connected now, like for real, like no joke.
Yeah, there's enough. Yeah, I mean that was the intent, right?
Yeah, well, what I mean is the future seems to be leading the cash market now. That means they're really connected, folks. I don't know how to explain this any more than what I just said. Bitcoin and the futures are straight up interconnected now, some kind of way. The only way I can explain that to you is these markets right here. The Dow futures versus the Dow cash, NASDAQ cash, NASDAQ futures, S&P cash, S&P futures, Russell cash, Russell futures. These are intertwined and locked in too. Sometimes the cash market leads the futures, all right, in rare occasions. The majority of the time, though, the futures is leading the cash, all right? Futures always are supposed to lead the cash, but sometimes, on occasions, the cash will lead the futures. That's what's happening here. This futures contract is leading the Bitcoin cash market, all right? So the Bitcoin cash market, let's say, for instance, maybe at a higher price than what this is right here, and then before long it comes and it takes this price out, and then they come into unison again. So for whatever reason, Bitcoin is being shorted right now, and it's being shorted heavily into oblivion. Nah, I
What's the
can't bring up
dollar
a real
doing?
time Litecoin chart. I can only bring up the the Bitcoin futures chart because there is no Litecoin futures chart. But I can bring up the GBTC, which on the daily chart, pretty much the same thing. You can see it gapping down here and then here. Yeah, this thing is really trying to pull away. GBTC is one of those things, man, where, like I said, it's the wild, wild west because there's no pre-market trading, no extended hours trading. So if you're going to trade the GBTC, you almost simultaneously have to be able to trade the Bitcoin futures as well to hedge yourself. You know what I mean? Because if you're long GBTC and Bitcoin overnight drops $1,000, you know this thing is going to gap down on the open. You got to have a way to short while holding this. So anyway, wow, this is something else,
What's the
folks.
dollar doing?
The dollar is up 39 pips at 89.58. So basically, it's just bouncing off the lows, like I showed in the prior video. You're bouncing on your daily chart, coming off the lows. You hit 88.43 last week, and then now here you are now. Wants to make a run up to the 90 handle, which I've been talking about, and then the next one's the 91. I think we're going to get eventually to this 91 handle before this one possibly rolls over like it did back here when it breached trend line resistance and came back down. So we'll see. I know Trump doesn't want the dollar too strong, but he doesn't want it too weak either. So I think we're going to be oscillating between this 90-ish level for a while. We'll be around the 90 handle for a while. Median price should be somewhere between these 2 points right here. And I think we'll probably just coast there until midsummer. So we'll trade between 90 and 91. I think that's where Trump wants to see it for his import-export plan to really work. That's what he needs.
Are you still a believer of the petrodollar, or do you think it's dead?
It's never been dead. It's been just as strong as it was 20 years ago.
But I mean, there's a lot of people selling oil outside of it, not denominated in dollars anymore.
Don't matter. So it hasn't caused us to one iota. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that I've read that have been speculating that a lot of the manipulation of the dollar and oil are to try to keep the dollar lower is good for Trump's trading plan, because if it gets too high, like you just said, but
well, like I said, the dollar's up and oil is down, bonds are up, dollar and bonds are up. Dollar and bonds are kissing cousins. So they're supposed to basically move in tandem together. And that's what you're seeing today. Oil is wild. It does whatever it wants. But this right here, the dollar and the bonds are supposed to move together. And that's what you're seeing happen today. People have been saying the crash of the dollar is dead. They've been saying that since 1994.
Well, I'm talking specifically about the petrodollar, which is basically, I don't know if you share that opinion, but that's really what the world's reserve currency is. Not the dollar per se, but the dollar pegged to oil.
Like I said, people have been calling for not only the death of the dollar, but the petrodollar, the oil thing. They've been saying that since 1994. And to be quite honest with you, it was more scary back in 1994 than it's ever been even to this day, because it looked like it was going to actually happen, that we were going to wake up and the world would be different. People were scared to death that the U.S. was going to actually go belly up in 1994 because of the debt situation and all these other things that were happening. I don't buy into any of it. I'll tell you why. We still have military bases all over the Middle East. We are still the most scariest army on the planet.
It's still the force that support the dollar, the force.
There you go. And the dollar is still the world's reserve currency. And we have central banks in every country, just about. So until that happens, until you remove the central banks from all the other countries, until you remove the military bases from all the other countries, then you can say, "Oh, the petrodollar is dead. Oh, the dollar is dead." No, it's not dead. As a matter of fact, I believe it's getting stronger. And if
That
you
would
look
be
at,
bad
well,
though. For
bad
what? How high can it get before it starts getting bad?
well, again, the markets have been removed from reality for over 20 some years. So you
True.
can't just tell just by looking at how high the dollar goes. Back when they first started the futures contract for the S&P and the Nasdaq and all that, the Dow hit a high of like 140. The Dow, I mean,
Wow.
the dollar was literally
The
trading
dollar.
like the euro. When the euro first came out and started trading back in 1999, early 2000, um, it started at 88 cents. And now look at it today, it's a buck 24. So you could technically say that the dollar has switched places with the euro. Well, right where the euro was at its inception, we're at 89. You know what I'm saying? That's where the
Mhm.
euro was at its inception. That's where we are today. So technically speaking, the dollar has lost a lot of purchasing power. All right, it's moved back to 1997, where the euro was. And technically speaking, the euro is the number one currency right now. I'm sure the pound can make an argument for it being the number one currency because it's a buck 40. But in the grand scheme of things, the euro is the monster right now. So where do we go from here? We can go wherever they want to take it. I don't think it's going too high though. I think, like I said, we're going to stay at a median price between 90 to 91, at least for the foreseeable future, going out to the summer. And that's about it. I don't see the dollar going anywhere. I don't see our stranglehold on the oil market going anywhere. We control it. We control the poppy fields in Afghanistan. We control all the oil fields. So, all across the globe. Until that changes, how can anyone make an argument that the petrodollar is dead? Just because people are trading, oil and other currencies, that doesn't mean anything. We still control it. So does it matter? Think about it. Does it really matter? Do you
I'm trying
care?
to think if I'm trying to think if China and Russia, because I mean it's them that have been doing deals a
All right.
lot of
Let's put this in
a lot of
street
it, but I don't think
terms.
they have the volume to do enough. I mean, do they like what could they
Ah,
possibly?
all right, let me get. We gonna put it to you in street terms. You ready? Here we go. Okay, I'm the plug. Everybody in the Black Ops trading room, you work for me basically. You come to me when you want to re up. You need some more coke. You come to me. Some of you been with me for a minute, so I give it to y'all on a consignment. Others, you're a little bit newer to the Black Ops. I don't know you that well yet, so you gotta give me my money up front if you want 100 keys. All right. Now, for those of you on consignment, I give you 100 keys. I tell you, bring me back $10 million. Some of you, you're located outside the U.S., so you say, okay, let me go ahead. I'm gonna move this product. I'm gonna give Dexus 10 million. Now, some of you may live in a place where you use the euro, so you're trading my product in euro. Now, I need from you $10 million. So you go ahead and do what you need to do. You trade your euros, you make your paper, but then you got to convert some of those euros into dollars so you can pay me because I'm not going to accept anything but dollars. Do I care that you sold stuff in euros? No, I just want my money. I just want what you owe me. Same thing with the U.S. The U.S. owns the oil fields. We control the oil fields. Do we care what people do with the oil, what they sell it in, as long as they give us our cut of the money? No.
Well
U.S.
said.
is the plug. There you go.
Well said.
Any questions, class? So,
Pretty,
what have we
pretty
learned today?
accurate.
What have we learned today?
A
we learned
lot.
we learned a couple things. I tell you, the most important thing we learned is that the pulse waves rock hard body karate. Do they not? Everybody, you got your sheets. You saw what the sheets were saying, even going back as far as Thursday and Friday. If you follow the system, you will make money and not lose as much money as you could have lost if you didn't have the pulse waves. That's what it's designed to do. So a lot of you were not shorting today, but you sure enough wasn't buying either. You was on the sidelines chilling with me because that's what I was doing today on the sidelines. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you can make an argument. Hindsight is 2020. You can say, "Well, I could have shorted today. Look how much money I would have made." Yeah, but the market could have also. This right here could also be green too. You gotta always remember that. Yeah, the Dow closed down over 1,000 points today, but it could have also rallied 1,000 points. Then you'll be crying because you'll be decapitated because you shorted a market that's up 1,000 points. You feel me? That's why it's better just to follow the system. For those of you in the Bitcoin, you'll get your buying opportunity. Just sit tight and chill. Hopefully, you've taken some profit off of the table and not wait till Bitcoin gets to 5,000 and say, "Okay, I did it. I'm cutting. I'm just gonna cut my losses." You shouldn't be having any losses if you're following the system. You should be taking profit well aware of now. If you didn't take profit now it's too late to take profit. You stuck now. I don't care if you
Yeah,
bought Bitcoin at 11 cents. I don't care. Well, Dex, I'm long from 11 cents. Bitcoin is at 7,000. I'm looking good right now. No, I'm gonna say this kindly. You're looking like an idiot. Again, you let Bitcoin go to
yeah,
$20,000 on you, and you didn't take no money off the table. So you just cost me $13,000, and you managing my money. You fired. Because I'm gonna say, why didn't you get me out? Even if you didn't get me out 20,000, why you didn't get me out of 19 or 18,000? Heck, I'll take 15,000. Where's my money? I'm sitting here looking at 7,300 when it was at 20,000. Where's my money? Is anybody not feeling what I'm saying? That's why you gotta learn to take profits along the way. Gotta take some monies off the table. You got to. The reason why I'm harping on this is because it's not like physical gold and silver, folks. We stack that. You hold on to that. You don't ever have to liquidate that. I don't care if they say the price is zero. You don't ever have to let that go. But when it comes to these Bitcoin, you can't trade Bitcoin the same way you trade Apple stock. A loss on paper is not a loss until you take a loss. And Bitcoins, and you trade these other coins, you could see your profits evaporated, and then you could be looking at losses. You gotta maintain. Now those cryptos you guys hold that are equal to penny stocks, XYZ coin is trading at a fraction of a penny, then you can ignore what I'm saying because I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people strictly that are long this Bitcoin, sitting on all that profit and refuse to take profit. That's dumb. Also, those of you who are buying Bitcoin while it's dropping, thinking that, oh, this is the bottom. You don't know where the bottom is. What if it falls down to $200? Then what? Oh, it'll rally again. What if it doesn't? What if Bitcoin stays at $200 and then drops to 50, and then it doesn't recover for 20 years? You don't know if you got 20 more minutes left. Heck, 20 years? Sorry, folks. This is not value investing. We're talking about cryptos. Cryptos is the wild, wild west. You got to trade those things. Use the same things I taught you with equities. When it comes to stocks trading at $5 or below, we don't have to use stops. We don't have to worry about doing anything. You can ride those until you want to because it's a cheap stock. It's basically a penny stock. What are you going to do for penny stock? Not going to put a stop in at a stop trading at 5 cents. What for? All right. Stocks trading over $20, folks. You got to have a stop in, man. You got to. You got to. Anything you're trading that's worth more than $20 a share, you got to do something about it. All right? You got to. You don't want to be a fool or an idiot. Now, if I'm talking to you and you did play yourself, you still got time to redeem yourself. All right? You can start fresh. It's a new year. Don't carry over those bad trading habits from last year and years gone by. Learn the healthy habits. I did I think it's on the introduction video. I don't know if it's video 1 or video 2, where I go over those trading principles. All right. For those of you who don't remember it, listen to that again. I drop a lot of knowledge on you on that. You want to have healthy habits. You want to practice healthy habits. All right. So penny stocks, anything trading at pennies a share or below $5, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to those who are holding something worth more than $20 a share. If it's XYZ coin and the coin is a $300 coin and you got 1,000 of them things and you watch it drop from 300 down to 250, you still really start to really start thinking about what you're going to do with that. Got to put stop in, got to take some profit, got to limit those losses. You want to lock in as much profit as you can. Remember I say, what do I say? Take what you can, give nothing back. That's what that means. Take what you can from this market and don't let the market take back any of the profit that is given to you. That's what that means, okay? So I can't stress that enough, folks. Never turn winning trades into losing trades, ever, or you will be kicking yourself. You can never make money when you're constantly giving it away. All right, back to the market. The market's going to take its share from you. All right, that's just the nature of the game, and it does that by losing trades. You're going to lose trades. That's how the market takes back some of its money. That's the price of admission. But you want to, whenever you see profit, folks, you want to learn how to take that profit. You will never, ever, ever go broke taking profits. I promise you. You can never go broke taking profits. If all you do every day is take profits from now until the rest of your life to the day you die, you will not be broke. But you will if you start giving those profits away back to the market. Seeing yourself up big on a trade and then you get greedy and don't take profit, or at least tighten up your stop. All right. Now I know that trading is a little crazy when it comes to these cryptos. I know a lot of things have been happening with the exchanges and how they be down. They don't let you take your money out, or it takes you hours to know if you got a fill. You don't know if you got filled at what price. Again, all that stuff has to change. It has to change. That's why they created the Bitcoin futures, so that you could trade a vehicle that you don't have that problem with. Your fills are instant. You know what price you got filled at. You can see it on the screen. You can see everything marked to the market. There's an order book that you can look at what is called time of sales. So if there's ever an argument, if the market traded at a certain price at a certain time, they have time of sales reports you can print out and look and see if it was possible to be filled at what price. So that's the one good thing about futures trading. You can do the same thing with equities too, by the way. You just can't do that with the cryptos, not yet anyway. It's still a new thing, and they're still working out the kinks. And in the U.S., it's been really hard, man. I don't know why the U.S. won't let people, have access to exchanges where you can short stuff, and have all the different order types at your disposal. So anyway, I'm off my soapbox. Anybody have any questions or need me to look at any charts before we end this?
I got my last one from kind of a sentimental note, but it could be. I think I found out where all the money in the market went today.
Okay.
Our old friend Nick Knack just jacked everybody today.
Yeah, I'm looking right at it. Look at that.
Look at that. The Fed bought Knack.
Looks like it. It looks like it. Let's pull up a chart on that. Nick Nat Patty Whack. Been quiet for a long time today. Whoa.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
You know why? Because look at this gap. This gap right here from January the 26th. See? Gotta fill that gap.
Just hear everybody buy the dip.
So if you bought it though. Now listen. Let's assume this opens up about where it closed today. You got possibly 20 cents in the trade and profit potential, because 123 is where this thing is going, somewhere around there between 123 and 129 to fill this gap. And it'll probably fall back down after that. So if you're willing to take that kind of risk, this is a trade to make at least 20 to 25 cents. If you guys are so inclined. So that
You
that
know I love I love betting on uh mining companies that don't even have permits to mine on the land that they own that give their stock value. That's 20
yeah.
years. They're 20 years into this and they haven't even dug anything out of the ground that they can sell. They just got the permit approval. I read last week. Not the permit approval, excuse me. They have the approval to apply for permits, and that process takes a few years and
Yeah.
is subject to the EPA and their call. So yes, this company doesn't even make any money.
Which is why the stock is trading the way it's trading. Um, let's see. Wendy had another question. UVXY just shot up. Any reason? Yeah, the reason why the UVXY shot up today, Wendy, is because look what happened in the stock indexes. Remember, XIV, TVIX, UVXY, and SVXY. Those are basically proxies of the stock market. They cover the entire market as a whole. Um, let's pull it up. Let's just UVXY. Yeah, remember after markets, um, the futures got a lot worse. The futures gapped down after the 4 o'clock close. So here you are on the daily. Let's pull up the overnight. All right, so you closed at $22.87, and then you rallied to $35.81 in the over and the extended hours, because look, the cash Dow closed down 1,100 points, but in the after hours it fell down to 1,300 points. See what I'm saying? This Nasdaq closed at 264, but fell down over 300 in the after hours. So that's why the UVXY shot up in the after hours. Yeah, that's why. Because the market kept falling. Same thing happened back in 2008. I will never forget, you guys, I've told you the story before. For those of you who are not familiar with it, I'll tell you now. Bloomberg was showing like 5 minutes before the close on, and this is one of the days on in 2008 during that whole financial crisis. Instead, they had like one broker. It was a sea of brokers crowded to this one terminal, and one broker, and she was just asking which, random, you sir, how much you got to sell, and each one would go around and say, oh, I got this. So one guy, he shouted out 5 million. He had 5 million shares that he needed to fill on the close. It's called a market on close order, or MOC. And there was a sea of these brokers. One broker in particular we know had 5 million shares to close. There was like $1 billion worth of money to move after the close. All right. The Dow dropped 700 and something points after the close. That's how much it moved the markets. That's how much volume came into the markets. The Dow dropped 700 points after the close. It was just carnage. It was crazy. So that's what this is reminiscent of. So that's why this market kept moving. People came in and pushed it up higher in the overnight market. So yeah, these are looking definitely like candidates to get long tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. I don't know yet. I'm just speaking just by looking at the chart. Um, Once we get the report out tonight, then I'll know once the pulse waves update. But yeah, anytime their futures are still moving after the 4 o'clock closing bell, you better believe equities will be playing catch up in the extended hours trading. So now the real question is, how much more is this going to move in the overnight markets? Because see, Asia is about to start trading soon. All right, so you got Asia and you got Europe that are going to be trading soon. So that's going to be real interesting to see how they respond to this. And is this going to get worse based on how they move? So tonight is going to be real interesting to see what happens. All I got to say is be ready. You know what I mean? Be ready. Um, be ready for anything. Anything can happen. I'm really not concerned with anything, any geopolitical stuff, just only because a lot of it is just jawboning, trying to scare the people to death, so that they could, you know, do the evil things behind closed doors that they want to do. There's still talk. I mean, they still are dead set on removing Trump from office. All right, one way or another. That is real. That is the only thing in the news is real. They hate Trump
I think that's what this is about.
and they want to remove him from the office. So yes, that's what this is. This was a temper tantrum on Wall Street, and regardless of any of that, this was definitely the Fed unwinding its balance sheet. You better believe that. So nothing really has changed though. Again, let's pull the Dow futures. Nothing has really changed, folks. On the daily chart, yeah, the Dow futures, the price now is leading the way. We just had a cross here on your momentum line crossing down. All right, so this means officially, as of today's trading, this here is a short-term top. We now have this right here signifies this right here. So you just what's the word I'm looking for? Can't think of my words now. What's the word I'm looking for? This confirmation. This is a confirmation of this. So this confirms that this is the short-term top. So we have put in a short-term top in the equity market. Now that does not mean that next week's candle could be up here. All right, just be prepared for that. All right, we could turn on a dime at any point. So just be ready for something like that, for those kind of surprises. I don't see this falling out of bed and turning into a full-blown bear market. All right, this here marks the top. If we close here, that's what this would mean. The week has just started. It hasn't closed yet. This could turn around and be a green candle come to close on Friday. You know? And like I say, there's a lot of fear mongering going on. There's talk about what's going on in Korea, and are we on our way to thermonuclear war or World War III? That's been something that people are afraid of. I have not seen any proof whatsoever that we need to be afraid of that. I haven't seen any evidence. Where's the evidence to suggest that? All you have is the same wicked government that you don't already trust anyway, to tell you the truth, telling you that you need to be afraid of North Korea. They could tell you that you need to be afraid of the gingerbread man, and people will believe it because it came out of the mouth of the mainstream media and the government. That's silly to me. Why should we be afraid of the gingerbread man? Based on the evidence that I have, the gingerbread man is delicious. So I should be seeking him out, looking to bite him, not be afraid of him. But listen to the government.
Let's go on my Dex quote wall.
Listen to the government.
That's in the top 10 greatest quotes.
You know, I'm not afraid of the gingerbread man. Again, I think he's delicious. My evidence suggests that he's delicious. So until I see real reason to be concerned, then I'll be concerned. I'm not concerned about the market today. Yeah, all this shows me is that we put in a top. Until this trend line drops down below this Kumo cloud, I'm good. Until this blue momentum line drops below the orange trend line, I'm good. Even if it does, it still doesn't mean anything until we get a total cross of trend lines and price below the Kumo cloud on consecutive closes. Then we can say, okay, we now have a bear market, so look for shorting opportunities, especially on rallies. That's it. Right now, I'm saying look for buying opportunities on these pullbacks. This is a correction. When the correction's over, get ready to buy and back up the truck and get long, because the next bull run will make all this look like kindergarten. See, that's the part that no one's going to tell you. So I'm going to tell you. When this is over, as long as the bull market remains intact, there's no technical damage on the chart, the next bull run will make the current one look absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that you don't really see or hear any real panic, even on the talking heads, they're trying to normalize this type of market behavior, folks. in any of the administration, they'll be crying, they will be panicking, and they'll be trying to talk up the market. They're not doing that. They're actually promoting this. They eye with this, saying this is, be prepared to norm. This is the norm, folks. As long as Trump is in office, this is going to be the norm. That's what they want you to think. You know what I'm saying? So you heard it from me first. Don't fall for it. Let the post waves guide you. They'll tell you what to do. Watch the price action. That's why I say too, price always precedes any indicators that you have. Doesn't matter if there's a rally alert or a crash alert. All things are confirmed through the price triggers, through the long entry and the short entry price triggers. That's it. Everything else, meaningless. At the end of the day, price is what pays. Price is what matters. Any other questions? I like these spur of the moment webinars because they're usually the best, the ones you don't plan for. There's no script. Everything's
Totally.
freestyle, off the dome, just looking at the price action and saying what's what. All right, well, this is what's up. I still got to do an end of day report though, because a lot of people missed. Or do I?
Hey Dex, what rally or what alerts are you what are you going to be watching like real close? Just your usual.
I'm going to be watching the price triggers to see what the system says tonight. Like for instance, let's say we get price triggers tonight on the Dow futures, but we don't have a sell short trigger or signal. Well, I'm just going to be watching those price triggers to see which ones were violated. Because if this thing key reverses tomorrow, and then we have a bullish engulfing candle, I like to say I was in that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'll be watching for. Now, on the continuation side, if we get a sell signal tonight along with a sell price trigger, then I'm going to be strongly looking to possibly get short. But I'll be honest with you, when you see this type of a bar, it's rare that the market will repeat this type of a bar on the next day. If anything, there should be some type of either an inside day or almost a key reversal, if not a key reversal. So that's what I'm really watching for tomorrow. Possible key reversal. If it's just an inside day, then I'll say, okay, now I know for a fact the next bar is going to be either breakout bar or a breakdown bar. Does everybody understand what I just said? I just spoke rabbit terms to you. I know I'm speaking rabbit to you. Basically, what I just said, to repeat, the next bar is the daily chart. The next daily bar should be either an inside bar or a key reversal bar. Inside bar means that the market opens up here, maybe even takes out this low, but then ends up maybe closing here or closing here. Let me get my thing out so y'all can see it. All right, we may close here or even close here or maybe even close up in here. All right, that would be an inside day because we didn't take out the prior day's highs or lows, okay? Or we can have a bar that looks like this. The bar comes and heads lower, takes out this low, gets to about maybe right here, then reverses and closes maybe about right here. All right, if that happens and this ends up green on the day, and this bar is green on the day, these are some very strong buy signals right here for the following bar. However, this is what I'm watching for. I'm thinking this is what's going to happen. Or either we're going to, like I said, an inside day, or we may have something like this. These are the two different types of inside days I'm looking for tomorrow. This is an inside bar, total inside narrow range day. This here is an inside high day because you traded inside of the high, you didn't take it out. These two things are buy signals, both green bars on the next day. However, if that does not occur, and instead we get a continuation bar, all right, when the market closes down and closes below this low, then I'll be concerned at that point because this puts us what? Below the Kumo cloud. Price is now exceeding the momentum line and leading the way down. And that means momentum is going to pick up and help push price further below the Kumo cloud. If that happens, then we could very fast turn from a corrective bull market to a straight up bear market. All right. And this is on the daily chart. Okay. It's not a weekly chart. Just talking about the daily chart for now. All right. Maybe can you do a morning video? Can I do a pre-market pulse scan tomorrow? Yeah, why not? That's a good idea. I probably could do a pre-market. I probably will do one. I think I will. Because you asked me nicely. All right, any other questions? Any other questions? So this will be our end of day video, basically. Our everything video for today. No other questions? Oh, you guys are welcome and thank you. Remember, that's what I'm here for. Anytime you guys need a webinar, that's what I'm here for. If you need to talk, you need me to look at something, you got questions, point things out. Today was important because the price action today, these numbers told me that I had to do a video. These numbers told me I need to speak with you guys. I need to give y'all a heads up, let you know what's going on. So because our whole thing here is that you be the first to know things for everybody else. Other people are going to see this. I can see the videos on YouTube now. Market crashes, Dow crashes, and everybody and their mother is going to jump on the bandwagon and say, "I told you so." No, you didn't. You said you were buying the Bitcoin. Every pullback the Bitcoin had, you said you were buying. So I don't want to hear that. All the Bitcoin enthusiasts and cryptocurrency gurus, where they at? You don't hear them. Why? Because the Bitcoin is ripping their faces off. It's hard to talk when you're headless because you've been decapitated financially in the market. All right. Any other questions? Nobody has any other questions? Okay, well, that's what's up. All right. Well, I'm going to process this and upload it. I will upload it to the trading room files, and I'm also going to upload it to YouTube as well. So it'll be a double video today.
Are you gonna? Did you record the whole thing, Dex? Like all the earlier stuff too, or just the end of
I haven't paused anything since I've been talking.
it? Maybe we can leave out some of that earlier stuff we were talking about. The early stuff.
Nah, everything's going live, man. Why not? Why you don't?
Yeah.
No one knows it's you. I didn't say your name.
Did I reveal myself at all? I guess
No.
I did. Did I?
No.
All right.
I don't.
I just don't want to be a YouTube star.
No, you're not gonna be a YouTube star. No one knows your name. This is the trading room. This is live trading room, man.
Okay, cool.
Any names that I use are made up names. No one knows anybody. So if I say, Wendy, Steve, Mark, those are made up names. No one knows who I'm talking about or where you're located if you're even in the United States. Remember, the Black Ops trading room is global. We got people literally from just about every continent on the planet. So you don't know who is what and where they are. And
that's
names
what makes it amazing.
Don't go anywhere. Only thing you see, look, come on, think about it. I've gone through great lengths to even hide my identity. I don't show my face on my videos. I'm not stupid. Some of the things we talk about, are you kidding me? I want nobody come and look for me. And a lot of things I have to be careful what I talk about too, because my travels have led me to some interesting places and met interesting people and things. And if I say certain things, they'll know. If I identified myself immediately, they would know who this was, and I can't have that. I can't, because I've had close relatives and friends in very high offices in the government and overseas as well, and foreign nationals and things of that nature. So I can't say about a lot of stuff. Even when we talk about government stuff, I can't. You know, I've let it be known because some of them actually watch my YouTube channel, like for real. I'm not even making that up. So they know, and I've revealed that I know certain people. I know government officials. That's all I can say. So if you notice, I don't go so hard on certain individuals and stuff because I know them or I have close associations with them. Like I know a guy who knows them, and that guy happens to be my relative. You know what I'm saying, kind of thing. So I have to be careful. Can't be stupid.
That's what I was alluding to as well. Is.
Yeah, no, I don't tell people that. No, people will never know. The only people who know my identity are people who need to know, like my trading clients, things like that. People I manage money for, they know who I am, and they know where I am. But everybody else, they don't need to know all that. What you need to know that for? Who do you work for? Why you ask me all these questions? Who do you work for? Why are you trying to debrief me? You don't need to debrief me. But no, for the record, I don't hold any security clearances, so I'm not violating any, U.S. Patriot Acts and none of that. So I've not taken any oaths. Actually, no, I can't take that. I take that back. I did take some oaths in prior job things, but I'm no longer under that, so those oaths don't matter. I haven't signed any non-complete compete clauses. I'm not under any contractual obligations with any entities or people or persons. So I can pretty much say whatever I want to say. It's just that a lot of my stories from my past experiences and stuff back when I worked on Wall Street, I gotta be a little careful. Only because I've done things with people and met people and anyway, I leave all that alone. That's why I talk a certain way, because I'm not stupid. And not only do we live in a land of there's no privacy, but you also have to protect not only your anonymity and your personhood, but you also got to protect your intellectual property. Now, I will say this. I'll leave off with this. I once worked for an outfit back in my Wall Street days where the firm I was at employed certain persons who were some of the greatest, how can I say this, espionage type people that I've ever met. They can get into anywhere. They can reverse engineer just about anything. So you got to be careful with what you're doing. I don't care what it is. You got to be careful because people will jack you. They will hack you and they will jack you. And so that's why I've taken great pains to keep my stuff on the low low and to keep my people on the low low. Make sense? So anyway,
Indeed.
I've
Thanks, Dex.
waxed philosophical
Appreciate.
enough. No problem, man. Be encouraged. And then look, I ended the video by saying your full name, social security number, and address. What a jerk! No, it's not. And on my photo, I
You're
use
funny.
I use your photo for the thumbnail for the video. Talk about I can be trusted. You can trust me. I'll never reveal people's identity. No, that's messed up. Um, I have a sixth sense of humor. You have to remember that. All right, I'm done, man. I'm talking dumb stuff now. That's how I know I've talked too much. So, with that being said, everybody, I will see you guys on the AM. I will do a pre-market pulse scan tomorrow, Lord willing, and I'm gonna start working on tonight's pulse wave so we can get a leg up on these markets. Everybody, be encouraged, and I'll holla back. Peace.